Good evening, councillors, staff, ladies and gentlemen in the gallery, and to those listening at home, welcome. Please be seated while Councillor Betts delivers the blessing. Thank you.
Today's Remembrance Day, and some of us were at the Remembrance service at the War Memorial in the Civic Centre Gardens, and Reverend Richard Minnell did what I thought was a beautiful prayer, and I thought I would use his prayer. We asked whether we could have a copy, and I'd just like to share that prayer. Gracious God, you have shown us the fullness of your love through your Son, Jesus Christ. With grateful hearts, we give thanks for the freedom, the peace, and the liberty we enjoy today. Help us as a nation to not forget the cost of these gifts. We thank you for those who have given their lives to bring about or preserve for us our freedom. We pray for those who are today engaged in conflicts around the world to help bring peace into unjust situations. Graciously guide our fighting forces to continue to be true in all they do. We also pray for those who still bear the scars of conflicts. We pray for healing of the memories and the comfort of their pains. Watch over the families who mourn the death of loved ones, who gave their lives in conflicts, or grieve for loved ones, who struggle with the results of injury. As we remember the terrible cost of every war, renew in us the longing for peace and the will to work for it, in the strength of Jesus Christ, who is alive and reigns with you and the Holy Spirit, one God, now and forever. Amen.
Thank you, Councillor Betts. Before we begin, I'll just read the Acknowledgement of Country. We acknowledge the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, who are the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we meet today, and we pay our respects to them, their culture and their elders past, present and emerging. It is now 7:05 and I declare the meeting open. There are no announcement of visitors. Read the disclaimer. Members of the public are cautioned against taking any action on council decisions on items in which they may have an interest until such time as they've seen a copy of the minutes of the meeting or have been advised in writing by city staff. Please note that all council meetings are digitally recorded and live streamed on the city's YouTube channel, except for confidential agenda items, during which time the live stream will be temporarily suspended. Record of attendance. Everybody is here. Are there any disclosures of interest, councillors? No. Announcements by the presiding member. I've got a few tonight, so please bear with me. First of all, I'd like to thank the Deputy Mayor, Councillor Williamson, and the councillors that attended the RSL Remembrance Day service this morning, which actually allowed me to go down to the Mandurah RSL Remembrance Day, where they did an unveiling of honour for some of my closer ancestors, my grandparents' brothers. I thought it was only one grandparent's brother, and I got there, it was another grandparent's brother, so it was really nice to be down there. It was really special, so thank you for covering that today, Deputy Mayor, and thank you to the RSL for organising the event as well. I'd also like to thank and congratulate the staff on Fusion Festival. Director Blake, if you could extend our congratulations to the team. It was fantastic, it was well received, and it looked as though it was really very well appreciated by the community, judging by the comments that I received on the night, on the Friday night, and Deputy Mayor Serena Williamson was there on the Saturday night with other councillors as well. So I think it was great to have us all up on the stage so everyone knew who the whole council was. That was, I think we'll continue to do that practice, so hopefully you're all up for that. And Councillor Dillon, you're up for the dancing, yes? Cool. Excellent. Also, moving on from that, so yes, Director Blake, you'll be passing on our congratulations, thank you, yes. I'm sure they're all watching tonight. Also want to congratulate our local Community Legal Centre, Red Gum Justice. They received 2 awards at the Law Society of Western Australia Awards. They received the Attorney General's Community Service Award, as well as the Innovation of the Year for their Leave Safe, Stay Safe program. So that's fantastic to see them being successful in the little city of Gosnells Community Legal Centre. So great to see them recognised in that space. Also, I want to give a congratulations to McDonald's Maddington on their 40th birthday. I think most of us were there for the 40th birthday celebration, so long time to have McDonald's there. And they've been really good at giving back to the community as well. They know sponsor quite a few sports groups, as well as I think they're doing some sponsorship with the city as well, so great to have them on board. Lastly, and with a very heavy heart, I share with councillors and the community that former Mayor Dave Griffiths' wife Jan has passed, and she was just a really lovely lady who, touched many hearts. So our condolences to Dave and the family on the passing of Jan Griffiths. Thank you. Moving on, reports of delegates. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I attended the Circle meeting on Thursday, the 6th of November, and the focus of the meeting was a speaker, Kat Williams, who some of you may know. She's actually been employed full-time as the worker for the Brixton Street wetlands, and she gave a presentation about the Brixton wetlands, and as a person who hasn't grown up with the Brixton Street wetlands or knowing too much about it, I found it very informative. And one of the things she pointed out was that in the last 30 years, there have been 30 fires in the Brixton Street wetlands, which is a real problem. Also, the issue of rubbish dumping continues to be a problem for them. And unfortunately, some areas have dieback as well, so that's a concern. But it's quite encouraging that Kat Williams is able to be the full-time person working in that Brixton Street wetland to manage it and to also facilitate the work of the Friends of the Brixton Street wetlands. So very positive thing. That was part of the state government's election pledge to fund that position. So I think that's a really good thing that's happening for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Betts. Are there any other reports from delegates? Councillor Mason, thank you.
I had the pleasure of attending the William Langford Community House AGM last night. It was a fantastic opportunity to hear about the remarkable work that they continue to do for our community. The passion, dedication of the team was clear throughout the evening, as they shared in many ways the ways which the centre provides support, learning opportunities and just a sense of belonging for local residents. What stood out most was their continued focus on inclusion and connection. With 2026 marking their 40th anniversary, it's very impressive to reflect upon the lasting impact that William Langford Community House has had across generations. I want to acknowledge the staff, volunteers and board members, both past and present, whose hard work and commitment have built such a strong and respected community hub. In particular, I would like to acknowledge, I want to make sure I get this right, Arumagam Kalamani, or more commonly known as Manny, who gave over 9 years of service to the House as Treasurer. Everyone's ongoing efforts ensure that the William Langford Community House remains a place where everyone feels welcome, supported and valued. Just for reference, last financial year, the number of activities that were held there were along the lines of 20, with a total of 352 sessions, with 2,856 participant interactions, telephone or reception front desks, communications or interactions. There was 1,462 and 794 phone interactions with the community, so quite a large interaction with our local community. And further to that, the city received this nice little pot plant for their ongoing community support. So I present that to you, Madam Mayor, because it's not for me. Thank you.
Some delegates? No? Okay, thank you. We now move on to question time and the receiving of public statements. We have a question from Mr. Brennan Cherry. Thank you very much, Mr. Cherry.
Thank you, Mayor Lyons. Can I just say well done to everyone at the Fusion Festival. Great event over the weekend. Question 1. Does the City of Gosnells have a time frame as to when the council depot at Maddington will relocate to unlock redevelopment of the Maddington Town Centre?
Thank you for your question. Mr. CEO will respond. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, we don't have a timeline yet. We're working with the state government on an option for relocation.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Question 2. With regards to the illegal dumping of rubbish, how many offenders have been prosecuted in the courts? Of those, how many are not residents within the City of Gosnells?
Thank you for your question. The Director for Business Services, Mr. Bradbrook, will answer that. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We've had 8 successful prosecutions so far, with one pending, still before the courts, and of those, 6 of the offenders don't live in the city.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Bradbrook. Question 3.
Mr Cherry, I just noticed you've got 6 questions, and on this occasion we'll let you ask them all.
Thank you, Mayor Lyons. Has the city purchased more covert cameras as a result of the covert stings being successful in catching dumpers in the act?
Mr Bradbrook, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The cameras aren't actually owned by the city. We actually engage a company that specialises in that sort of work to provide the cameras, and they then cut the clips and provide the evidence to us of the offending for us to deal with the prosecutions. But we do intend to continue to use the cameras in dumping hotspots to keep pressure on illegal dumpers.
Thank you, Director Bradbrook. Question 4, regarding libraries. How come the city's libraries each have a different day where it closes at 7 p.m, such as Gosnells on Monday, Thornley on Tuesday, Mills Park Wednesday, and Amherst Village on Thursdays?
Thank you. And the Director for Community Engagement, Glenda Blake, will answer that. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We used to have all of our libraries open until 7 o'clock. The 6 till 7 time slot we found was really quiet. And obviously there's a staff cost associated with keeping our libraries open till 7. But for those people who do want to go to a library from 6 till 7, we thought it best to keep one of our libraries open each weeknight, with the exception of Friday, from 6 to 7. So there is one library available for people who really want to go between 6 and 7.
Thank you, Director Blake. My next question is, what is the latest update on the city's application to Main Roads to have a giveaway sign installed at Currajong Drive and Forest Lakes Drive in Thornley?
Director for Infrastructure, Martin Glover, hopefully has an answer for that.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Madam Mayor, through you. The response that we sent out to you, Brendan, when you put the request in back in 3rd of November, that's now with Main Roads, and we're seeking for them to carry out that installation. We've been quite quick in responding, but I don't know whether Main Roads will deal with it quite as quickly as us.
Thank you, Director Glover. And my last question is regarding bus stop shelters being repurposed in a post mentioned by Deputy Mayor Williamson on social media. When will the 2 bus stop shelters on Sugarwood Drive be removed and relocated to an area that needs the shelters? I should note that the current location is no longer served by buses since June, when the Thornley Coburn link opened.
And Director Glover will respond. Thank you.
Through you, Madam Mayor. The status of the bus shelters as of today, stop 20673, that's Sugarwood after Currajong. It's one of the very old style shelters, and that actually will be removed and disposed of. Stop 2670, which is after Garden Street, Thornley, that will be repurposed and relocated to stop 28390, which is Southern River Road after Aldenham Drive in Southern River. And that's part of our bus shelter subsidy program.
Thank you, Director Glover. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr Cherry. There are no more questions tonight, but we have a public statement from Ian McElwee, and it's regarding item 2 on page 34 of the agenda, LPS amendment to LPS 24, rezoning of 248 Lot 10 Gay Street. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, Councillors. My name's Owen McElwee from TBB Planning. I'm here representing the landowner of Lot 10 Gay Street, Huntingdale, Mr Francis Grassy, whom we've been working over the past couple of years to progress the scheme amendment to this point in time. In making this public statement, I'd like to speak in support of Amendment 2 to the Local Planning Scheme 24, which proposes to rezone Mr Grassy's site from residential R20 to local centre. First, I would like to thank the City's officers for their favourable recommendation and working quite collaboratively with us up until this point. So basically about the site, since 2015 the site's been strategically earmarked by the City as a future local centre, and as such has been reflected so in multiple council endorsed strategic documents. This includes most recently the local planning strategy that was approved a couple of months ago, Activity Centre Planning Strategy 2019 and South Bullfinch Street Draft Guide Plan of 2015. Each of these documents have either identified the site as local centre or commercial, and all have gone through an advertising process. So this amendment simply it's not speculative. We're simply just implementing the City's long-standing strategic intent for the site. We did give our best efforts to try and include this as part of LPS 24. However, due to the progression of LPS 24 at that point in time, the department told us we had to go through a formal planning process, and such we are here today. So the rezoning will enable a small-scale centre to be considered, and one that provides day-to-day goods and services within walking distance to the future Florian Huntingdale estate, which is being in the process of being subdivided around the site, and the growing South Bullfinch Street. It responds to the city's shortfall in local centre floor space, identified under the Activity Centres planning strategy, and supports a more walkable and self-contained community. Under the local centre zoning, high-density options will also be considered and will assist with achieving housing diversity targets. From a site suitability perspective, the site itself is ideally placed for the role. It's on a corner lot next to Sutherlands Park, which is undergo revitalisation shortly and is basically within a rapidly developing residential area. So in short, this amendment is consistent with the city's strategic planning framework. It meets a clear need and will also enhance the local amenity of the future residents and surrounding area. So we respectfully request council support to initiate the amendment so that we can progress through to advertising and through a formal planning process. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. There are no more public statements, so we'll move on to the confirmation of minutes. Can I get a mover, please? Councillor Dalton to move that, Councillor Islam to second that. Are there any questions or on the minutes, councillors? No, if you could please cast your vote, thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. Are there any receiving of petitions or presentations? Councillor Dewhurst, thank you.
I'll put this under, after direction from last meeting, I'll put this under presentations, but at the memorial today that was spoken about, it was a very moving memorial, but there's two things that happened there I'd like to point out, which I thought was quite cool. There was a mum walking along, I'd say with an 8-month-old baby. Mum stopped, sat down and watched from the grassed area. I mentioned to the CEO, I said, how cool is that? You know, it's just good, you know, this look good, it's just very casual. But also there was walkers walking around when the Australian anthem was being played, and as they went across the bridge, they stopped and stood there to attention, two young fellas, and it was just good. It just made you feel good and respectful that the community does take it in need. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you, that's very nice. Any further presentations or petitions, councillors? No, thank you. Move on to applications for leave of absence. Yeah, he's indicated to be an apology. Okay, thank you. Moving on from that. Any questions on which notice has been given? Okay, we'll move on to 13.1.1, the proposed amendment to Council Policy 4.1.8, purchasing. Can I get a mover for this? Councillor Islam to move this and a seconder. Deputy Mayor Williamson to second that. Councillor Islam, do you want to speak to this item? Deputy Mayor, did you want to speak to this item? Did anybody else want to speak to this item? No, councillors, if you could please cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. 13.1.2, the significant errors in energy compliance reports for new homes. Can I get a mover? Councillor Adams to move this. A seconder, Councillor Singh to second this. Councillor Adams, did you want to speak to this item? Councillor Singh? Did anybody else want to speak to this item? Councillor Betts, thank you.
Madam Mayor, I'd just like to speak to this, so this is actually on the public record, and people listening at home who perhaps haven't read the agenda in detail, but it's really of concern that building applications that come before the city, which are certified by people who supposedly are experts and who give a building a rating of 5 or 6, whatever it is, in terms of energy efficiency, that those buildings often do not actually meet those standards, and that we as a council are powerless to actually even do anything about that because it's been taken out of our hands. And I believe that this is really a very serious issue, that people are being misled by their builders and the certifiers to lead them to believe that their new home is going to be up to a certain standard, when in actual fact it does not meet that standard, and we are powerless to do anything about that. So I think what we need to do is we need to get some questions asked in Parliament to ensure that something is done about this, because I think it's totally unacceptable. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Betts. Is there any further debate? Councillor Williamson, Deputy Mayor Williamson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just have a question on this item. In the report it notes we've written to the Building Commission. Could the CEO please advise how residents or homeowners that are concerned about their property, who they can contact or make a complaint to?
Thank you, Mr. CEO.
I suppose the first issue is most people wouldn't know, because the assessment's been done by somebody technical and you believe the work of the technical expert. So unless they're prepared to go off and get another technical expert to review their certificate, such as people who use building inspection companies to check the work of the builder, those people aren't going to know. But I think if somebody found out, they could presumably complain to the Commissioner for Consumer Protection, and I've already written to her along similar lines about consumers being effectively presented with something which isn't true. I think that's the best they can do.
Thank you. Are there any further questions or debate on this item, councillors? If you'd like to cast your vote, thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. Moving on to 13.2.1, the development application for the amendment to Transport Depot and Motor Vehicle Repair, time extension, 458 Lot 237 Bickley Road and 23 Lot 6 Victoria Road in Kenwick. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Islam to move this and a seconder. Councillor Singh to second this. Councillor Islam, would you like to speak to this item? Councillor Singh, any other debate on this, councillors? Councillor Dewhurst, thank you.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Look, I've got a couple of amendments. I talk in support of the recommendation, but there's some amendments I'd like to bring across. So the development application, amendment to Transport Depot and the motor vehicle repair, time extension. Well, we've got all that, we know what that is. So Councillor Glenn Dewhurst proposed the following. The staff recommendation be amended as follows. In staff recommendation 1 of 2, delete condition 2 and 4. In condition 7, delete the words prior to commencement of the development and replace with within 90 days of the approval. In condition 8, delete the words prior to occupation of the development, replace with within 90 days of the approval. In staff recommendation 2 or 2, delete condition 2, and in condition 4, delete the words parking of vehicles shall only occur within designated parking bays. For the following reason, the requirement for the applicant to commission an acoustic assessment is unnecessary, and regardless of the outcome of that assessment, they will still be required to comply with the noise regulations. Amendments to conditions 7 and 8 in recommendations 1 or 2 is acknowledged that development has already commenced. Deletion of the proposed words for condition 4 is recommended 2 of 2 because it is unnecessary for the city to attempt to manage parking on private property. I'll seek a seconder.
Councillor Islam to second that. You can speak to your item, Councillor Dewhurst. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Madam Mayor. So my first issue that I have is in regards to asking for 2 acoustic reports from this one person. We've never done that before. I originally asked the question from the director of what has he been in breaches of any conditions whatsoever that he has. Complaints have been made, but nothing's been substantiated. Now, the acoustic report is that he's governed by this, by the noise regs anyway. That's the first point I want to bring to you. Number 2 is that when you do acoustic reports, for those who haven't done one before, is that you have a defined area of operations where you can work from. We still haven't set that defined area of where he can work. And the reason I say that is we can still, in 2 years' time, or when the area, I'm sorry, what's the word?
Muxie.
When that comes out, we can actually put a 3, 5 or 15 or 20 metre either buffer or swell there because we need to capture the water. There's water problems all along Bickley Road along there. Our drains probably aren't going to handle it, so we'll have to probably create swells as well. So we can't actually give the acoustic guy the actual terms of this is where the property, this is the operational capacity of this. Now, this doesn't mean that acoustic report doesn't get done. We actually get another crack at this again when it comes up in 2 years' time. So I'm just asking us to be reasonable with the owner of that property. Don't ask for 2 acoustic reports, number one. And number two is that without that defined operational works, how can the acoustic report guy do the acoustic report? And before anyone talks about it, I'd also like to hear about who object to about you don't need a defined area. Well, you're telling you you do. I've done acoustic reports before because I had to do them at my place. In regards to number 4, the parking of vehicles shown in curved and designated parking areas of the city satisfaction. This is a commercial parking for commercial vehicles. I mean, you don't, I've never seen this in the Mooksy yet where we've said there has to be designated parking for commercial vehicles. Yes, designated parking for disabled bays, aquad bays. There's bays probably for visitors, but for commercial vehicles, it just doesn't make sense. It's just a condition that we're putting on him for what? For the sake of putting conditions on there. And also 7 and in condition 7, it's really, and also I'll talk about 8 as well. He's already occupying the place. So for us to say private occupation, does that mean we've got to stop him from working now and tell him to get out while he does his plan? I don't think so. So all I'm asking is let's give him the 90 days on each of that. Let's be reasonable with this guy here. Now in regards to staff recommendation 2 or 2, again, the same applies. The acoustic report, we get another crack at it. We've got no defined area of works in the place. And bearing in mind, we've not had any complaints about the mechanical work. He's doing mechanical work, and I would say he's probably at 150 metres to 200 metres to any neighbours from that shed. I've taken the time to go and have a look, time to talk to people there that are working there. They're not grinding, they're not making truck bodies or anything like that. They're actually servicing trucks, dropping oil, doing tyres, doing engine rebuilds. You know, anyone in that line of business would understand you don't actually need a acoustic report for that. So I'm just asking, let's be reasonable. If he does breach it, we've got ways of actually, if there's complaints, to actually measure it, and we also get another crack at this in 2 years' time. So I just ask you to support this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Dewhurst. Would anybody like to speak to the amendment? Councillor Lloyd, thank you.
I just had a quick question. I know that we included the requirement for acoustic reports because we removed the hours of operation. So I believe it was 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So if Councillor Dewhurst is asking for those acoustic reports to not be done, would we then be re-implementing hours? Because I thought it's one or the other. Can you give me some clarification on that, please?
Mr CEO is going to respond to that.
It would only be a case if council wanted to resolve to reintroduce the hours. If the motion was passed as is, there would be no constraint on the property and the use of it.
Someone else had their hand up. Councillor Sislak, thank you.
I just wanted to ask a question for clarification from the staff. What would the implications be if we removed condition 2 of the staff recommendation?
Thank you. Mr CEO, did you want to respond to that?
The recommendation was put in there because when we've got businesses or activities which are going to operate in the city which are likely to make noise, we want them to undertake noise assessment before they start operating, so we have got some understanding of what noise they're going to make and what impact that's going to be. And the real key with the noise assessments is that the assessors can make recommendations about what mitigation measures can be put into place to respond to excessive noise, and that can be things like, the nature of the height of barrier fencing or whatever that can, the nature of the fencing that can reduce the noise. So that was what we were thinking. Notwithstanding, they will have to comply with the noise regulations, whether they do a noise assessment or not. The noise regulations are the noise regulations.
Thank you. Any Deputy Mayor Williamson and then Councillor Adams?
Thank you. I just have a follow-up question. Could the CEO explain the difference between non-compliance with the noise regulations and non-compliance with condition 2 if that was to remain?
Thank you. Mr CEO?
Well, the noise regulations are state government regulation that's got a certain penalty attached to it, and again, it would depend on the, I think, the time of the breach. There's impacts on the penalty and the nature of the noise that goes above. If condition 2 is effectively requiring them to undertake an assessment through a planning process, and if they breach that, then they're in breach of a planning condition that they haven't met. So.
Thank you. Thank you. Any further questions or debate?
Just a point of order.
Stand up, sorry.
Councillor Islam second that, if he was the mover, the amendment, under clause 9.1?
He
can.
Can't move it.
Can't move it, but he can second it. Thank you.
According to clause 9.1,
I'm not going to argue with
he
Mr.
can't second
Bradbrook.
it, yeah.
But we're happy
Oh,
to
he
check
was
on
the
that.
seconder.
Yeah, all good, thank you.
So we need another seconder?
He can't move it, but he can second it.
He moved the substantive motion. Clause 9.1.
Would you like to move it, second it?
I'll be happy to
Thank
second
you.
it.
Thank you. Do you want to speak to it? Thank you. Thank you, well spotted. Is there any further debate or questions on this item? Councillor Betts, thank you.
Just regarding the acoustic report, one would think if somebody operating a business as big as what is being operated there, with multiple trucks and so on, and given when we had a site sort of inspection there on Friday, I think it was, whatever day it was, some of the residents did complain to us about noise, and at all different hours of the night and very early mornings. One would think that somebody running a business of that size would want to make sure that they do comply with the noise regulations, and therefore would want to engage an acoustic expert to give them advice, like a truck starting at 5 o'clock in the morning, very close to the boundary of the road with houses opposite. That may very well exceed the noise regulations. I don't think it should be up to that resident to try and get action for compliance. Surely the owner of the business has a moral obligation, if not a legal obligation, to ensure that his business operates in keeping with the regulations, and therefore, for example, if a truck does need to start at 5 o'clock in the morning to go off on a job, that truck is not parked so close to the road, but is parked at the back of the property where it can go out onto Victoria Road and out without disturbing the residents. So I'm very comfortable with with just about all of the things that Councillor Dewhurst's amendment speaks of, but I appreciate that an acoustic report, in a sense, is surplus or superfluous in the sense that he has to comply with that anyway, but I would have thought that a responsible business owner with a business that size, knowing that there's complaints, he would actually engage an acoustic consultant to give him advice as to what he needs to do to make sure that he does stay on the right side of the noise regulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Betts. Is anybody else wanting to? Councillor Mason, thank you.
Just want to seek clarification. It is common practice for the city to request acoustic reports, and if so, or if it's not, why is this person being requested to provide them?
Mr. CEO will respond, thank you.
Madam, it is common for particularly businesses where the planning team believe that there could be significant noise made by the activity that's occurring.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor, did you want a follow-up question? Are you happy with that? Deputy Mayor Williamson, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to speak against the amendment that's in front of us. Like Councillor Abetz, I do feel the onus is on the applicant to actually ensure that they do comply with noise regulations, and that onus shouldn't be left to pass to the city to follow up when complaints come in. So in that regard, I think it is reasonable and it's a good planning condition to have in here, to request that the applicant actually provides the acoustic report and funds the acoustic report, rather than the city having to put in noise monitoring in response to complaints and residents having to make complaints if issues arise on numerous occasions. So I think this is, as the business operator, this is ordinary, and this is what would normally be expected if they're allowed to operate without having fixed operating hours. So I will not be supporting Councillor Dewhurst's amendment, although it was only in relation to the removal of condition 2 that I didn't support. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Councillor Dewhurst?
Yeah, I'd like to split out 2 if I have to, and then leave the rest as they are, but I'll still argue against it. Thanks.
We'll have to deal with that afterwards, because it's already been debated and spoken to. If this fails, then someone could put another amendment up, or you could put another amendment up, excluding number 2, if you wanted to do that.
Yeah, I've got a question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Question? Thank you.
So the question is, so when, going on from the debate that we've just had, when someone's making a noise, and we believe that it's over, having this acoustic report, is that going to take away the fact that we're going to have to put any noise monitoring there to make a prosecution, as been suggested by the 2 councillors?
Mr CEO will respond to that. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, the acoustic report would guide the applicant in where they can undertake activities in relation to not making more noise than they're allowed to, which would affect the closest adjacent property. So if there was a complaint, we would still put noise meters into a house, and we could still measure it, and if the applicant was in breach of the noise regulations, we could take action. But it's to guide the applicant so that that situation doesn't occur effectively, is what we're looking at.
Thank you. The questions or debate on this, councillors? I just have a quick question. Mr CEO or Mr Danford, acting planning, if this item was to go through as it was, and they had the acoustics report now, we've got to come back at 2027, do they have to provide another acoustics report then?
Madam Mayor, I think it will depend on what they're applying for. Like, this application is different to the one they had previously, and this is still a temporary application. You know, they've asked for 2 years, and we're giving them 2 years. I suppose ultimately it depends what they're asking for, and that will be assessed on its merits.
Thank you. And also with the second item, with number 2, are they just using Victoria Road to drive through, or are they parking up and starting on that property?
Madam Mayor, I don't know that we know. I think there have been concerns about trucks starting on properties, but I don't know if it's 458.
Okay. I'm inclined to support the amendment. Oh, did you want a question? I have a question. Go for it. Thank you.
So, bearing in mind the neighbours are running trucks out of there on the Bickley Road.
Question. Yep.
Yeah, well, okay.
Sorry.
So why weren't the neighbours given to do an acoustic report then, considering they're running much larger trucks, much more infrastructure running out of that property on the Bickley Road?
Thank you, Mr Dewhurst. Councillor Dewhurst, sorry. I just saw Dewhurst here. Mr Dewhurst. Mr CEO, I believe you're probably referring to the Little O property. Thank you. Madam
Mayor, I don't know offhand, and I'm happy to be corrected, but what we've done with those properties on Bickley Road is, I think, generally given them time-limited applications from memory, and that was to try and limit their impact on the neighbouring properties. But as Mooksy Precinct 1 is effectively now normalising into an industrial area, we sort of don't believe it's appropriate that they should be time limited in a way. That was just the temporary transitional nature, but whatever they do, they should comply with the noise regulations. So it's to try and normalise the situation is what we're talking about.
Yeah, you're fine now. Thank you. I am inclined to support. It is a tricky one, admitted. They are only trucks starting up, and they are quite a distance away from the residents. There's a 15-metre setback, and then a 64-metre setback, and then another 21-metre setback, and then their workshops back behind that, and they're going to be leaving via Victoria Road. And we know that the road back out of Victoria Road is due to be finished within the next 4 to 5 months, maybe. So they won't be going out onto Victoria Road. So, I'm not sure that $4,000 on each property is fair for this property, because there are a lot of, I just don't see the cost need for that. It's a truck for, after all, a couple of trucks starting up. Maybe there's quite a few trucks starting up. But on this particular property, where it's situated and where they're parking, it doesn't look like it needs an acoustic report. I don't know that it does do some assessment on what could be done on the property with that acoustics report. I do understand that. No, I'm talking, but I just think I'll support this amendment, because it does seem excessive request for this particular property. Thank you. Council, would anybody else like to speak or ask questions on this, councillors? No? Councillor Dewhurst, your closing. Thank you.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Look, I appreciate the councillors giving their worldly advice on acoustic reports and how much noise trucks make and that. So by law, trucks have to abide by noise regulations. You have to, otherwise you get a sticker on them. Okay, so if they exceed the noise regulations, you can't drive them. Now, the trucks do have a Jacob brake on them, which they come into town and make a lot of noise. They're not going to do that there because they're only putting around. And as the Mayor said, $4,000 or $8,000 for two acoustic reports. In fact, it's on the same property. It's on the same property for one owner. I mean, that's just ridiculous. This is just telling people, don't come and invest in the city of Gosnells, because we've got some real problems in regards to our Mooksy area. I mean, you've got people sitting over in Brentwood who have paid millions of dollars for property.
Point of order, Madam
Let's close
Mayor.
it down. Yes, of course.
I understand what it is. Councillor Dewhurst, you're bringing new discussion into your closing debate. You need to stick to what we've already debated, not bring new items in. Thank you.
Okay.
Carry on.
As I said, people don't like the truth. So what it is, Madam Mayor, is that did you do something? Okay, obviously I've got to apologise to the Deputy Mayor. She won't tell me back on again. So, look, the fact is, I'm sorry. The fact is that we've asked this guy to do 2 acoustic reports on the same property for the same owner. Now, losing my thought of train. Are you sure you're not doing nothing? Which is... I find that very harsh to actually ask someone to do that. I do know that people next door, they did not have to do an acoustic report. They're running bigger trucks out of there. But as the CEO said, it's because we've got ongoing approvals. But like this property, we have ongoing approvals for this property as well. We can make a lot of... An acoustic report, like I said before, is that you need to understand this, councillors. There has to be an area of operations that you give the person who's doing this report. We can't give that because we don't know what we're going to do doing at the front part of the boundary of the property. Okay? On the front part of this property, there's already trees along there. Not enough, I'd say that, and the owner said he's going to be planting a lot more along there. So, and as you know, trees are the best acoustics, noise, dampers out there. Like I said, there's been nothing to substantiate the complaints. I'm sure that the neighbours are right in what they're saying, but I'm sure we would have seen trucks going through on photos and stuff like that. We don't have that from the Bickley Road. But bearing in mind, they're only using They're going to be using Victoria Road. They're going to be using the new road, Clifford Street, when that comes up. And bearing in mind, we're going to come cap in hand to this guy eventually and ask him to give us the back part of his property so we can run a road along it. So let's thinking about, let's work with our residents and the people that want to invest in our city. So I just ask you please support the amendments. Let's be fair and let's be reasonable. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dewhurst. Councillors, if you could please cast your vote on the amendment. Thank you. The amendment has been carried. We now put the amendment back with the original item. Is there any further debate on the original item, councillors? Councillor Dewhurst, did you... Yes, you can...
Thank you very much for that, councillors. I do want to raise an issue in the Mooksy area that we currently have, and I just want to highlight it, is that there are people in the Mooksy area, for instance over on Brentwood Road, who have paid millions of dollars for properties, that we won't allow them to build commercial vehicles, commercial sheds, which is fine, because it's still under TPS 6, but we're also not allowing them to build rural sheds on the property as well. So these people have bought property, millions of dollars, that they're not allowed to work or operate with. So I just wanted to bring that to the attention of everybody. So I'm just asking...
It's not relevant to this item.
Well, it is, because we need...
it's not, actually.
We need to get all this right.
Yes, we do.
From the beginning, and that's all
Yes.
I'm asking for the council. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any further questions or debate on this, councillors? If you please cast your vote with the original item with the amendment. Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. Now move on to, am I right, the right one? 13.2.2. 13.2.2, the budget variation for Maddington Road Precincts A and B Development Contribution Plan, reimbursement for public open space, lots 2 and 126 Maddington Road, Maddington. Councillor Adams to move that. Deputy Mayor, Councillor Williamson to second that. Any debate on this, councillors? No? If you'd like to cast your vote, please. Thank you. That has been carried. Moving on to 13.2.3, the amendment for number 2 to local planning scheme to number 24, rezoning of 248, lot 10, Gay Street, Huntingdale. Going to move it. Councillor Dewhurst to move that. Councillor Sislak to second that. Debate or question? Thank you, Councillor
I just want to talk in favour of the staff recommendation. I think it's got excellent, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do there. Yeah, it'd be absolutely wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dewhurst. Councillor Sislak, would you like to speak to this item? Is it Councillor Deputy Mayor Williamson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just have a question in relation to the rezoning. If it's rezoned to R60, can that be a mix of retail, commercial, as well as high density?
Thank you for your question, and Mr Denford will respond. He's Acting Director for Planning. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, Councillor Williamson.
Thank you. Next.
Thank you. I just have a follow-up. Once it's rezoned to R60, could it be purely high-density housing, or does it need an element of shopping commercial precinct in it as well?
Thank you for your question, and Mr Denford will respond.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. No, there will be a requirement for non-residential as well as the R60.
Thank you. Anything further?
Yes, in that case, I'm happy to support this rezoning. I think in this area we've had rapid growth and there is a need to have the commercial shopping and commercial services in the area. So it will be good to see this come into fruition. And if there is high density living, that creates a good mix in the local area. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any further debate or questions on this, councillors? No? If you'd like to cast your vote, thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. That has been carried, sir. You may stay with us or you are welcome to leave as well. Please do take a biscuit. Moving on to item 13.2.4, the draft modified local planning policy 2.1, commercial vehicle parking final adoption. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Mason to move this, Councillor Dalton to second this. Councillor Mason, would you like to speak to this? Councillor Dalton, would anybody else like to speak to this item? No, whoa, very close. Thank
Sorry,
you,
guys,
Councillor
I'm
Judas.
not going to talk about everything. I did say I'd sit down and go to sleep now, but I'm not. This is good. This is something that we've been wanting for a long time, and it actually gives very clear direction what's going to happen in our urban and rural areas. I think it's smart, and yeah, it's a good guide for people to go off now. So I think directing people to this will be quite easy now. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Thanks for that, Councillor Dewhurst. Any further comments or debate? No? If you'd like to cast your vote, thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. 13.2.5, the draft modified local planning policy 2.5, home businesses and family daycare adoption for advertising. Deputy Mayor Williamson to move that and Councillor Sislak to second that. Thank you. Any debate? Thank you, Councillor Williamson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm speaking in support of the staff recommendation. This, I recall over the last few years, and probably the first couple years I was on council, family daycares was something that continuously came to council. There was lots of pushback about the number of children that could be actually at a house in family daycare, and there was limitations over the sizing of the property and then an arbitrary requirement to keep kids 1 metre away from fencing. So I think this new policy that's come out is moving with the times. It's been a practical adjustment, and I think residential areas, there's kids. That's an expectation that there will be kids in the area. There's still a restriction on the number of children as a whole that can be in the family daycare property, but it's still a home primarily, and having a few extra kids there day or night is not really unreasonable, and I wouldn't imagine they would exceed the noise regulations. So I think it's really great that shift workers, nurses, some of the first respondents can now have the option of putting children into family daycare through an approved facility within the City of Gosnells. So I fully support this amendment, this change. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Is there any further debate? Thank you, Councillor Betts.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I'll just echo the words of the Deputy Mayor, and I think it's an excellent example of red tape reduction on the part of the city, that people now who want a family daycare actually do not need to put in a development application. So that's a significant removal of reduction of red tape. And also what I always thought was a crazy part was that the play area had to be 1 metre away from the boundary. I'm not sure how that was ever policed, because the residents' own children, they're allowed to play in that 1 metre strip next to the fence. But I'm glad that that's gone as well. And I think the limit of 7 children in total is a reasonable sort of limit to put on it. And I just commend the staff on coming up with this excellent red tape reduction process.
Thank you, Councillor Betts. Well said to both of you. I also just want to add that I'm really happy that people can have more than one garage sale in a 30-day period now. Bet they weren't aware they weren't allowed to have that before. Anyway, I'm glad to see that's being deleted. Is there any further debate? Councillor Islam, thank you.
I've got a question. Looking at the report, there were 85 applications approved for family daycare and also childcare over the last 5 years. Just out of curiosity, how many family daycare and childcare we have in the city? Do we have the numbers?
I'm not. We can get back to you on that if that's
Thank
okay. It's significant, but we'll get back to you. Thank you. Anything further, councillors? Okay, if you'd like to cast your vote on that, thank you. Okay, that has been carried. Moving on to 13.2.6, the draft modified local planning policy 4.1, public consultation adoption for advertising. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Dewhurst to move this, Councillor Lloyd to second this. Councillor Dewhurst, would you like to speak to this?
Just got a question.
Thank you.
I should have asked this in the pre-meeting, but I forgot.
Fine.
So in table 3.5.2 table, just wait till everybody sees that, yep. introduction of the following land uses. So the actual reason is a bit confusing to me. If it says it's under LPS 24, which are A uses in at least one zone, can you explain that to me? I mean, if it's in at least one zone, does that mean it can be used in all zones, or just one zone? Like, for instance, let's pick something out here. Renewal, say a park home, for instance, right? So if it's a,
I think Mr Denford knows what I think he understands what you're asking. You'd just like a bit more clarification around the reasoning for the at least one zone introduced existing land. The reasoning on 3.5.2.
Yeah, if liquor stores is able to go somewhere, can you put one, for instance, in a rural zone or an industrial zone or something like that, because it's an A zone in residential or something, or commercial? That's what do you understand what I'm trying to get at? Madam Mayor, do you know what I'm trying to get at?
Yeah, I do, but yeah, Ian's going to answer you, that's fine.
Look, I'm trying to think, and it's a shame because I'm trying to think of an example where something like, and the first one I'm looking at is betting agency in that list, and you know, could it be a D use in a certain zone in the residential zone, but an A use in the rural zone? Is that's effectively it from my perspective? I think if it's a D use in the residential, I can't think of any that sort of have got different advertising requirements in different zones, and probably the wording it could have been slightly changed there, but again, I didn't put the policy together, so I'm reticent to be definitive on that. But I would have thought if a betting shop's an A use in one zone, it's an A use in all zones, effectively. Would be my thought, unless Anthony can think of anything in LPS 24 which has got different, different uses in different areas.
Thank you. Mr Denford?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There are land uses that are permitted or have a D use, an A use, an X use or a P use in different zones. So is that the question? Sorry, what I mean by that is if you take residential as a land use or a single dwelling, that's a P use in a residential zone, but it's an X use in an industrial zone. Is that the question?
Yeah,
yes.
So there will be some like that, yeah.
So just to clarify, just so I got it right, so being that exact same example you said, so if it's a P use but an X use in an industrial zone, because if there's an A use in an urban area, does that automatically give you? Because that's how I read it.
I think that's not the case, though.
It's actually telling me that if it's an A use somewhere in our city, we can put it anywhere in the city we want.
I think this is talking about a table.
I know there's a table, but that's not how it reads. Yeah. I'm a bit concerned about how that reads.
Okay,
so effectively, the way I'd read it is if it's a permitted use in a certain zone, it will be permitted because it's a P use in that zone. So this won't impact. But what this is saying is if it's an A use, these are all A uses in at least one zone somewhere. And that, but not everywhere. But if they're a P use somewhere else, then they'd be permitted in that zone.
Is that clear? Clear with everyone? Reword it next time. Okay, councillors, if there's no further debate or questions on this item, you cast your vote. Thank you. Someone hasn't voted. Thank you, that has been carried. Moving on to 13.2.7, the draft modified local planning policy 4.10, subdivision and development abutting public areas adoption for advertising. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Singh to move this and Councillor Sislak to second this. Thank you. Councillor Singh, would you like to speak to this item? Councillor Sislak. Would anybody else like to speak to this item? No. Councillors, if you could please cast your vote. Thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. 13.2.8, the draft modified local planning policy 4.11, public art adoption for advertising. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Betts to move this, Councillor Lloyd to second this. Councillor Betts, would you like to speak to this item?
Just very briefly, I think the reduction in the cap for the maximum that has to be paid, I think, is very reasonable. That reducing it from a maximum of 250,000 down to 100,000, I think for 100,000 you can do a pretty decent bit of artwork. So I think that's really positive, and I think exempting the places of worship and community facilities, I think is also appropriate. So I think it's a very positive updating of the policy.
Thank you, Councillor Betts. Would anybody else like to speak to this item? Councillors, if you would like to cast your vote, thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. 13.3.1, the budget variation for the replacement of the lighting at Sutherlands Park Reserve D. Councillor Dalton to move this, and second Deputy Mayor Councillor Williamson. Councillor Dalton, would you like to speak to this item? Deputy Mayor, anybody else? Councillor Dewhurst, thank you.
Okay, I'd just like to, through you, Madam Mayor, ask the Director of Infrastructure if they could have a conversation with the cricket club, because, and I don't know if this is doable or not, but they've got an issue with one of the lights there at the moment where they're finding it very hard to use the nets at night time under light. And I don't know if we can move that light across to there and never, I don't know. But if you just have a conversation with them, that's all I ask.
Thank you. Mr Glover, you would like to respond to that question?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I actually think this is the lighting question.
Might be the lighting question.
That's the lighting question?
Yeah.
But they might want removed. If you just have a
Yeah.
conversation.
Thank you. Yeah, if you could just flick an email to Martin tomorrow about that, it'd be great. Thank you. Okay, is there any further questions or debate on this item, councillors? No, if you'd like to cast your vote, thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. There is no items from 13.4 community engagement. 13.5.1, the final carry forward for 2024-25. Can I get a mover? Councillor Sajjad to move that. Sorry, you're scratching your hair, sorry. Councillor Mason, Councillor Mason to second that, sorry. Councillor Sajjad, would you like to speak to this item? Councillor Mason, would anybody else like to speak to this item? Thank you. If you would like to cast your vote, thank you. Thank you. That has been carried. 13.5.2, the 2025-26 budget opening position. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Lloyd to move this. Councillor Betts to second this. Councillor Lloyd, would you like to speak to this? Councillor Betts, any other debate or questions, councillors? No, if you'd like to cast your vote, thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. 13.5.3, the tender for 17-2025 Sutherlands Park Centre and Sutherlands Park B and C Pavilion lead design consultancy. Can I get a move for this? Councillor Dewhurst to move this. Deputy Mayor Williamson to second this. Councillor Dewhurst, would you like to speak to this item? Deputy Mayor, would you like to speak to this item?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just had a question in relation to the tender, noting that the tender was for two separate buildings. If one building's design was completed earlier than the other, could we go to construction earlier? Thank you.
Your question, Mr CEO. Thank you.
Yes, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Any further questions or debate on this item, councillors? No, if you'd like to cast your vote, thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. 13.5.4, the tender for 2025 bridge inspection and minor maintenance. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Zhang to move this, and seconder Councillor Singh. Any debate or questions on this, councillors? If you'd like to cast your vote, thank you. Thank you. Item 13.5.5, the tender for 2025 curbing and minor concrete works. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Adams to move this. Seconder, Deputy Mayor Williamson. Would you like to speak to this item? Any debate? Councillor Islam, thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've got an amendment. I, Councillor Saiful Islam, propose the following, that the staff recommendation be amended to award the tender 21/2025 curbing and minor concrete works for a period of 1 year with 2 options to extend of 2 years each to Freight Train WA Proprietary Limited, trading as Kerbing West. For the following reason, the tender submission received from Kerbing West represents better value for money to the city for its service. And I seek your support. Thank you.
Seeking a seconder, Councillor Lloyd to second that. Would you like to speak further on that, Councillor Islam?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Mayor. The assessment that we have seen in the report shows that their submission meets all the safety and service requirements, and the referee checks confirm they have a strong performance record. Choosing Kerbing West would save the city around $25,000 a year without adding any risk to our operations or to our community safety. So in this current economic climate that we all operate, every dollar counts. These savings can be redirected to our community priorities while still ensuring quality curbing and concrete work across our city. So this is, I guess, practical and reasonable decision that balances value for our money for our ratepayers with good governance in place. So I seek your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Islam. Councillor Lloyd is the seconder. Do you want to speak to this? Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak to this amendment? You councillors, if you'd like to close, Councillor Dewhurst, thank you.
Yes, Madam Mayor, look, I'll take my hat off to my fellow councillor. We need to save money where we can, though I'm a bit torn because we haven't been privy to the tender documents and reasons why we've gone the one that's going to cost $25,000 more. Realistically, good governance and looking back to actually make a change like that. We've had these discussions over many, many years at council about councillors changing the recommendations of staff members because we just don't have that information. But my friend here, he's certainly a lot smarter than I am when it comes to figures and numbers and that. So, I mean, makes very good points. But I just in good confidence, I find it very hard to support, even though I'd love to support him. But I find it hard to support this in this time. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Dewhurst. Did anybody else want to speak to the amendment? Thank you, Councillor Sajjad.
I agree to Councillor Dewhurst because sometimes the cheaper thing is not always the better one. So we don't have more details of the quality of the service or what other works the guys who are 25,000 expensive are doing. So yes, you save the money, but would you get better value for the service? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sajjad. Any further debate or questions on this, councillors? Councillor Mason, thank you.
I guess I would be speaking not in favour of the amendment, looking at the fact that Curbside West doesn't appear to have any connection to the local businesses in our city of Gosnells, whereas at least Allstate has got at least some connection or recognition within that. So I guess I was speaking against the proposed amendment.
Thank you, Councillor Mason. Any further debate or questions on the amendment, councillors? Deputy Mayor Williamson, thank you.
Thank you. I would also like to commend Councillor Islam for bringing up this motion and looking at every dollar because every dollar does count. But I think when we're looking at a tender process and we have those governance procedures, we have fixed requirements of how we'll rate each of the submissions in. And I think based on the information that's come through in this report, it shows that the qualitative criteria does exceed that with the recommended concreting company as opposed to the concreting company that Councillor Islam is proposing. I think $25,000 does matter within our budget, but there is a risk that it could cost more in staff time and potentially the outcome may not be the same. And we do have that factor of the local business. So the first tenderer, council has deemed having local businesses as something, local businesses or having employees from the local area as being an important criteria through the tendering process. So I think to stick with good governance, I think we should stick with the staff recommendations. So I'll be voting against the amendment this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Is there any further? Councillor Lloyd, thank you.
I just wanted to ask a question because this is the first time I've ever seen this come up in a tender before. Can I ask then why? Well, I thought the standard was exactly what my fellow councillors are saying tonight, is that we do rely on the staff to give us that guidance. Why then this paragraph was in there for poor Councillor Islam to then have to challenge it? Can I ask why this time?
Thank you, Mr Bradbrook.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think the fact that Kerbing West did adequately address the qualitative criterion, it was probably an obvious question for someone to ask as to why we wouldn't consider appointing that company, and that's why the text is included in the report. It's certainly open to council to do that if it wishes to. But of course, Allstate Kerbing did achieve the highest ranking on the tender assessment. So it's one of those ones where there is a saving potentially to be made. It's not enormously significant in the context of our budget, but as council have said, every dollar is important. So it really is a value judgment for council as where it wishes to place its emphasis on this tender.
Thank you. Have you got a follow-up? Thank you, Councillor Lloyd.
Yes, then can I just confirm then that I believe we spoke about it at the workshop, but for the public audience, that there wouldn't be a lesser quality of work then going with the other tender?
Thank you. And do you want to answer that, or do you want the Director for Infrastructure to answer that? It's up to you. Mr CEO, even.
Madam Mayor, you know, when we talk about qualities of tenders, people put a lot of emphasis in the tender as to what they say they're going to do, and quite often we deal with people that don't actually necessarily do exactly what they've said they're going to do. I think, you know, the assessment is that they both meet the minimum criteria that we would consider acceptable. And when we're trying to choose what weightings we put to the various numbers, it's always very difficult because you're trying to get a balance where you want to get people that can do the job as cheaply as possible, but who are also high quality. So you've got two different things you're trying to balance up. In this case, that balance has come reasonably close. We're recommending the preferred tenderer, which is the more expensive one that's scored higher. But I think because of that balance being so close in this instance between price and quality, you know, from the tender assessment, we've made those comments in this report.
Do you follow up? I just have a quick question. You may not know the answer to this, which is going to be really difficult, but I'm going to ask. Do you know how many people are employed by this company in the city of Gosnells? Is it hundreds or is it one or two? Don't know.
Would you know how many people are employed by it?
Certainly wouldn't be hundreds. Okay. It's a tough one, isn't it? I'm going to vote in favour of the amendment, purely because we've written here, which is highly unusual as well, to say they have demonstrated that they can fulfil the requirements of the contract. It is $25,000, and I do understand that there is a lot of work on the moment for curbing and concrete work, so I'm sure that there is other work out there as well. I'm sure that doesn't help with this situation, but $25,000 to this city is an important saving, and I'm happy to support your amendment based on that, Councillor Islam. Thank you. Any further debate or questions on this item, councillors? Councillor Islam, would you like to close? No. Okay, councillors, would you like to cast your vote on the amendment? Thank you. Oh, very close. Your amendment has been carried. Thank you. Now we put the amendment back with the original item. No, we didn't have to do that. That was really the original item, isn't it?
Effectively, it was just change the name. But,
Yeah.
But yeah, just,
Thank you. No further vote, is there?
wow.
Yeah, we're going to put the amendment back with the original item, and please, is there any debate or questions on the original item with the amendment? Councillors, will you please cast your vote? Thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. 13.5.6, the panel for 04/2025 underground utility detection services. Can I get a mover for this, please? Councillor Betts to move this. Councillor Dewhurst to second this. Councillor Betts, would you like to speak to this item? Councillor Dewhurst, any debate or questions on this item? No. Councillors, if you'd like to cast your vote, thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. 13.5.7, 2026 meeting schedule for council and special meetings. Can I get a mover for this? Councillor Sislak to move this and Councillor Zhang to second this. Any questions on this item, councillors, or debate? No, if you'd like to cast your vote, thank you. Thank you, that has been carried. 13.5.8, the appointment of a delegate to Gosnells District Neighbourhood Watch. Can I get a mover for this, please? Or can I get a mover for someone that wants to nominate for this, actually? Any nominations for this item? Come on, Terry, I'll come and join you then. Thank you. I'll put myself down for the delegate. Thank you, councillors. Okay, can I seek a seconder for me for the delegate? Thank you. Oh, look at all your hands go up now. Thank you, councillors. So the staff recommendation that the council appoints myself as the delegate to the Gosnells District Neighbourhood Watch. Thank you. Councillors, if you'd like to cast your vote on that, please. Better bring cake, Terry. There are no motions of which previous notice has been given, no urgent business and no confidential matters. I declare the meeting closed at 8:21. Thank you very much, councillors. Thank you very much to the gentleman in the gallery for staying. Good night.